Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cold War Prepper. This is Lee. And for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. And for those of you who are returning, gosh, I'm so glad to see you. I see Triple G Farms and Scott Hummer, two of my favorites, already here. Thank you for being here. Uh, Fantastic to see you. Um, oh, no. What part of the country are you in, Scott? And what do you primarily do? Maybe there might be something down here for you. Um, Yeah, things. I think things are going to continue to get a little bit on the dragon side. I'm so sorry to hear that, but gosh, if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. So I don't know if you know it or not, but my master's degree is in human resources management, and so I was a human resources director for almost 30 years. If you need any help with your resume or anything like that, just let me know, and I'll be happy to help you any way I can. Hello, Eyes Wide. Uh, from Seattle, home of my favorite coffee, um, Seattle's best, not Starbucks. Uh, as a matter of fact, Seattle's best beat Starbucks in a taste test, and so to get even, Starbucks bought them out, so you can't get Seattle's best anymore. It's very difficult to get a hold of. Hello, Christina Green. Good evening, welcome, and Diana too. Great to see you as well. Um, we are going to be continuing, actually wrapping up. I want to check and see here. Yeah, I do have it in my stack of books that I'm reading over here to the side. I do want to finish up this book this evening when Crisis hits Suburbia. So we'll be talking about the last two chapters of it, and there's not really that much discussable content in it. We'll do a little bit of discussion on some of it and some of the ideas that he has there. Um, but then next week we're going to get into this one, The Dark Secrets of Survival. So this is by Soko Begovic. Now, we did a book review last Tuesday. No, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Friday. It was Friday. We had to postpone it because of my grandson's graduation from preschool. But anyhow, Friday night we did the uh, book review on book seven of the. I believe it was book seven, Avenging Home. Yeah, book seven of the Survival series, and I had to kind of restrict that to a private viewing. We had a good discussion, but unfortunately, we talked about some topics that YouTube does not like us discussing. So, and the violence and everything else. So I had to make that a private. I apologize for that. But we'll try to keep this one. We'll try to stay away from the stinky subjects as much as possible in this one. What I really want to get is when we take a look at all these others, when we take a look at this one, this is a guy's best guess of what it will be. When we take a look at um, most of, Ahern, probably one of the best writers there are on survivalism, or James Wesley Rawls, or so many great authors out there who really have done an awful lot. Stephen Smith, um, Angry American, Chris. We take and Bill Forstchen, phenomenal writers, but it's all fiction. It's all their best guess. And even here, this is our best guess of what it will take to survive, but they are darn good guesses. This, on the other hand, is a guy who survived. He was in the Bosnian conflict. He was there. He pulled the trigger. He had the trigger pulled at him. And so, I would much rather, if we have the opportunity to discuss survival in an SHTF environment, let's get it from people who have survived it. And I think that's the best place to do that. So, that's kind of where we are with that, and so that's where that's why I'm kind of modifying away from his off-grid book to Soko Begovic's book, which is a little bit more realistic, and this is something that we can kind of see. I don't know if you've been watching the news. A lot of interesting things happening. So had a lot of volcanic activity. Anak Krakatoa, which is actually west of Java, not east of Java. It's actually in the little area in between. You've got Sumatra coming down. Let me do it this way: Sumatra comes down here, and Java's here. So in that little space in between, that little piece of land or water in between Sumatra and Java, is where Krakatoa is. And Anak means child. In Indonesian, you always put the word that's being modified or modified behind the word it modifies. So Anak Krakatoa is child of Krakatoa, or baby Krakatoa. My favorite Indonesian sentence is, all of my big brother's toenails are broken. So you have to say, what's broken? What's the nails, which are koki? But in Indonesian, to make a word plural, you say it twice. So it's koki koki. Of the feet, right? Because we said toenails. So kaki is a foot. So of the feet is kaki kaki. So toenails is koki koki kaki kaki. Of the big brother, kakek, of me, ku, are broken, kokek. So all of my big brother's toenails are broken is koki koki kaki kaki kakek ku kokek. Big language lesson. Let's see where we are here. Hello, Butch Graves. Welcome from Colorado. Matt Shad, Sandy Aaron from Washington. We've got a couple from Washington. One, Scotch from Seattle. And let me see. Hello, Tofu. Welcome, welcome. Triple G Farms is back, and I've got to get up his way. He's got a Storms restaurant in we're up close to him, and so I've got to get there and have a chicken fried steak with him. So let's get into chapters 9 and 10. Very short chapters, very uh, kind of strange chapters in a sense. Chapter 9 is everybody ready? So he's talking about some of the things you need to do to be prepared at home. So at home, make sure you have a lot of different kits, a blackout kit, and a bug out bag, an emergency communications, first aid, emergency food, and some type of age appropriate weapon. and so I think those are all pretty good ideas, pretty good things. So here, to give you an idea, we have a fire extinguisher in every room. We have a carbon monoxide detector in 3 rooms. We have radiation detectors in 2 rooms. We have a fire extinguisher in every room. Ours in our bedroom is on the nightstand right next to me, because if something happens and I have to run through the house, I would prefer to do it, and the house is on fire. I would prefer to do it with a fire extinguisher in my hand. And then, of course, there's self defense right there, right next to the bed as well. Um, so, funny thing, somebody made a comment about uh, my haul video from last weekend, that they couldn't believe that I paid $50 for a box of 9mm. And I said, well, take a look at it again. It's 230 grain, 45 caliber. Um, so that, my primary is not a 9mm pistol. My primary is a 45 caliber pistol. So, yeah, that's 45. The ammunition is rather expensive, especially compared to 9mm. Make sure you practice things, have fire drills and other kinds of drills. What are you going to do if? Run through those scenarios and actually do them. Some families have even shut off the electricity for 2 or 3 days, and to make sure that they, have those off. Let me see. Oh, no, 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 Triple G. That vacation always takes precedence over everything else. They come so few and far between that when you have a chance to get it, enjoy it. We missed you, but we're glad you're back. But we're also glad that you got rejuvenated. Um, he calls it bugging in. I call it hunkering down. He also calls it shelter in place, and he gives you some ideas on where to do it. Um, I recommend having a flashlight. So if you look right over here next to me, as a matter of fact, I have 3 different flashlights. We have a flashlight in every room as well. So I've got this one, which is a Nebo inspector. I've got this one, which is a Nebo torch. And this has a little clip where you can put it on the bill of your hat, but it's heavy. It'll put your hat down if you don't have it on tight. And then I have the Nebo slide, and so the slide is nice because you can use it as an area type of a deal. And all of them are magnetized. They have magnets on them, so you can hold them onto things. So I recommend every single room in our house has a flashlight. My grand crazy over it. They go looking for the flashlights when they come over to visit. They think that's cool. So I gave them each a flashlight of their own. Um, if you can get a USB powered fan, that would be fantastic to keep air movement. If you've got those small chargers in case something happens, and what are you going to do as far as a break-in? How are you and your family going to handle that? And what are you going to do? So the question that my wife and I have is who's going to cover who when we answer the door? One of the nice things is because I'm less than mobile. Let me reach over here just one second. I'll show you the difference. I really hadn't planned on doing this, so that's why didn't have them available. But if you take a look, this is a standard medical cane, the one that was given to me by the Army. And this one is a non-standard cane. So notice how the horn is a little bit bigger. Okay, so that's so you can fit your whole hand into it. You can't fit your whole hand in this one very well. It's not going to spin. Whereas with this one, with the whole hand, you're going to have the ability to spin it and do all kinds of things with it. The other thing is this one has ridges on it so that it's got kind of semi-sharp objects, if you will, when you strike with it. It's also got a pointed horn, whereas this one has a rounded horn. So if you reach up and grab somebody with this one, it's going to be a little bit more of a pressure point than this one. So that's something you can also do inside your home if you're looking for some sort of close quarters type of defensive things that aren't going to penetrate through a whole bunch of drywall. Consider getting collie or screamer sticks or get into cane fighting. There are all kinds of free cane fighting classes here on YouTube. And there's a couple that you can pay and get some good training. But so you consider those as well for your home defense. Don't always just go straight for firearms. You can use other things. Uh, Hello, Washburn Billy. Welcome. Let me get back up here. I wonder where he's from. He didn't say. Okay. Uh, that's another option for you is yeah, and so who was it there? I saw somebody. Mad Chat said he loves cane martial arts, and yes, that's it. So Scott Hummer has a Glock 30. Mine's a Glock 21. Uh, so I like the fact that it has 18 rounds with it. But with the um, subsonic 230 grain um, hollow point, it's going to move you. You're going to move about 2 or 3 feet when you get hit with that. Hello, Garden Girl 84. Welcome from North Texas. We're in Central Texas. We're in the greater Austin area. Um, we've got hurricane season officially starts day after tomorrow. And so make sure you're prepared for that as well. He talks about his biggest mistake. And this is a very common mistake we all make, and it's a mistake we make in business and in our careers as well. I always used to tell people when I was director of HR, especially to a manager or to a team lead who wanted to get promoted, the best way to get promoted is to train your replacement. Because if I have a position up here, okay, and he's overseeing these four guys down here. And these four guys down here, their job is critical. Let's say when I was at Dell, I've got four line managers, okay, and I'm missing a line director, okay. I can hire somebody, and it's very easy to train somebody because remember that as you go up in ranks, your knowledge about that particular job are less and less technical and more leadership. So I can hire a leader who can learn the little bit of technicality he needs to know to manage those four managers. What I can't do is hire somebody to come in and manage the line and learn all the technicalities of the line in, and get them trained up real quick, or else my productivity is going to go down while somebody's training him to be a line manager. However, if I have a line manager who has trained a team lead in everything necessary to be a line manager and I have a director's job open, I say, wait a minute, I can just promote this guy and he's got a replacement already trained. So if you want to get promoted, in my experience as an HR director or an HR VP, the best way is to train your replacement. And so that's kind of what he talks about here. He said his greatest mistake was trying to make people impressed with his knowledge. So he didn't share his knowledge. He wanted to become too critical. And so the biggest mistake we can ever make is not teaching everything we know to the people in our group or our family who are going to have to survive with us. What happens if you catch a disease or get shot or you're injured in the calamity, whatever happens, and you're not able to exercise all those skills and knowledge? And you haven't trained anybody else, then you're going to kind of fall apart. So the biggest mistake he talks about in here is not training others to do what you can do, making sure that everybody has the same amount of skill. Um, so let's go through his key chapter concepts. Your home life dictates much of your child's preparedness. So if you have a child, make sure you're preparing them and teaching them how to survive and all that kinds of stuff. Also, make sure you impress them with the fact that talking about what all you have is not anybody else's business. Now, here's the thing: depends. It's age dependent because sometimes when you tell a very young one, "Don't tell anybody about this," then that becomes a challenge, and they do it. So make sure you do that appropriately. Preparing them at home allows them to practice preparedness outside of the home. So if you're teaching them all these skills and knowledges in the house and they're away at school when it happens, then their survivability increases at the school because they have better knowledge and skills than everybody else, and then they can come back to you. And I think that's a great idea. um, let me catch up here. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. Uh, okay, how many? We have 22 people here. Wow, welcome 22 people. Don't see that many in the chat, but so happy to see all of you here. So make sure you include your kids in the drills. Train them. And repetition is going to be the best thing you can do. Right now, I am trying to memorize all the prayers in Latin. So, I'm doing that just several times a day, and we'll see how that goes. And maybe at some time, this old fart brain will get it all taken care of. Uh, and then, of course, he closes out the chapter with, "Do not make the mistake of keeping all the knowledge to yourself." Your family unit, and that can be other people that are not necessarily your blood family, but your unit needs to be just that, a unit, a team. They need to have your skills. You need to be able to cover them. So it's not a dictatorship. It's not a one person knows everything type of a situation. Let me see here. Uh, All right, Washburn Billy, way to go. I'm getting tomatoes like you would not believe this year. It's taken me 5 years, and finally I'm getting tomatoes. And my wife has been complaining about the amount of water and everything else I've been doing for the past 5 years trying to get them. Still having problems with blueberries. I still can't. I mean, I acidify the soil like you believe, but I still have problems with blueberries. I kill them. I killed the raspberries, killed all my garlic. But this year I'm successful with tomatoes, and I've got a couple green bell peppers too. So I'm getting happy about that. Getting better and better as time goes on. Okay, chapter 10 is the backup plan. When bugging in, boy, that bothers me. When hunkering down needs to become bugging out. So, he's talking about can you bug out? Where would you bug out to? And all these other different types of things. And then he says, know where you're bugging out to before you build your bug out bag. I have a tendency to disagree with that. I can see where, in a sense, he's saying, you want to make sure you have appropriate clothing or whatever. You have the appropriate equipment. What are you going to be depending upon? I can understand that, but I also understand that sometimes just having a bag, your first four choices of where you want to go may be blocked out, and you may have to go to choice number five, which you haven't planned yet. So, I kind of do the opposite. I have a bug out bag. Actually, I have two or three bug out bags. I have my daily get home bag. I have a bigger bag that was a get home bag that I used when I was working up in Waco. And then I have my bug out bag, which is I have to have a two-wheel dolly to get it because I can't carry that sucker anymore. Well, I'll show you some bags here later on. So where should you go to? He says buy some raw land. Not all of us are in the financial. We haven't won the lottery yet to buy raw land. An alternate home, a cabin, an RV, family-owned land, state park. I think the state parks and the national parks are going to be overridden. I wish I was back home. My favorite place in the U.S. is the Gila National Wilderness Area. No vehicles allowed. My senior, after I graduated from high school, we went up the West Fork of the Gila River by mule and horse, and there were five of us, and two people did spin casting upstream. We caught a rainbow trout almost every other cast, a keeper, and we lived for 3 weeks off of just fresh trout, and it was just gorgeous. But that's one of the few areas I don't think are going to be overpopulated because you don't have any vehicles and there are no roads or anything else. So that's a national forest. And if another family member's home, if they're not necessarily look close to you, the only family member I have is actually most tornado prone area of central Texas. So I'm not going to go there. That's pretty sure. Let me see. Somebody said put some compost down. Check this out. Come on, computer, cooperate with me. Washington Billy says I put some compost down before he planted. So we'll see what comes up. Yeah. Um, and I bought a bag of manure. I like using manure to this as well. Welcome, Stealth Survivalist. Great to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Then he talks about bug out bags and contents. Now, um, he talks about what the packs that he recommends. He likes the Paratus 3-day operators pack by 3V Gear. He likes the Rapid Assault pack by Condor. So do I. It's a fantastic sack. Velox 3 or 2 by 3V Gear. I have not yet had any opportunity to see that. And then he recognized, he talks about incognito bug out bags. When I was HR director at the homeless shelter, the Arch in downtown Austin, it's the third largest homeless shelter in the US. I would look out my window sometimes and just keep track of what was the clothing and the backpacks that the homeless wore because I figured that would probably be if I was going to be a gray man, I would try to look like a homeless person. You know what I found out? There is no popular color of backpack. They have everything. They have camouflage. They have ACU, woodland pattern, tiger stripe. They have coyote brown. They have gunmetal blue. I mean, they have every color pack. They have Mickey Mouse packs. They have everything. Same thing with clothing. They have whatever they can get for free. There was an awful lot of people who were in ACUs because evidently there was a problems with the manufacturing. They were rejected, and so they were donated to the shelter, and we were able to donate ACUs to the homeless. So there were a lot of them walking around in ACUs. uh, and so let me catch up with chat here. And more new comments. That button helps. Okay. Wow, $120 a case, unbelievable. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I do. I have 2 different kinds of blueberries. My blackberries are going crazy. They're great, and strawberries, no problem. Strawberries are doing great. Blackberries are doing great. I have 2 different kinds of blueberries in pots next to each other so that they can cross pollinate. And no, there's so you'll find out that a lot. I was we had Triple G Farms. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We switched over from the camo, woodland camo. That in the early 1980s. Fatigued until 1992, and I had to drive to Fort Hood because I was stationed at Goodfellow Air Base at the time. I said, stuff. And of course, everything is camo. So that's an awful lot of woodland camo stuff. Just my woodland camo is figured I'm past. They're going to call me. So I think as the doctor, hey, I'm up 201 pounds. I mean, the most I ever weighed 5 when I graduated. But try to help that I have out in the garage. Well, now I'm not, it's crazy, but that's just how it goes. Some that to lose your oh that let me move the microphone up higher. Is that helping? Is that hurry? Um, I'll fix it. Okay, let me. Oh, what is okay now? Okay, let me. I'm going to go out and come back in. We're good. Okay, good. Okay, sorry about that. I forgot that I had my earbuds in. I blew the speakers in my portable here. And so, in order to watch and hear things, I have to wear my earpods. I forgot to take them out. So, I apologize for that.
We're back on the microphone, so good. Okay, hopefully this will do you all a lot better. Let me catch up with comments here. Yes, hello tofu. Thank you. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry for the inconvenience caused by my mental lapse there, that forgetting to take out the earbuds and connecting to the microphone. Oh gosh, Dragon Slayer, I'm so jealous. That's one of my favorites. And we went to Storm's restaurant here a little while ago, and they have fantastic sourdough bun hamburgers. They have the best sourdough burgers in Texas. In my opinion, they have one of the best chicken fried steaks too. Okay, so we have 3-tier woodland camo vest, hunting survival system, advanced Alice frame, tweaked with upgrade stacks, waist belt, and Molly 2 assault pack instead of medium Alice. So mine is an Alice pack. Of course, it's so old that it's straight olive drab. And now I have replaced that, and so I'll show you those here in just a minute. So he talks about using incognito bags. I'll give you that's okay. If you're using a camping bag, or if you have a hiking bag or something that you're used to, use that. Don't go with don't buy a bag just special to say this is my bug out bag. I did it and I was wrong. He says to make sure you have caches along the way. And the problem I have with a cache is that you're going to basically bury something underground. And it may not be on property that you own. And so who's to say that it won't get drug up by a construction crew or a line crew or a sewage crew or anybody else? I don't like the idea of caches unless you can control them and put them in an area where they can't be accidentally stumbled upon or intentionally stumbled upon and stolen. I wouldn't place all my survival on any kind of a cache unless it's in some kind of an area that I actually have control over. So he recommends that you put in your cache food, water resources, clothing, ammo, first aid supplies, firearms, shoes, seeds, and silver. Then he talks about rally points, and I'll tell you my idea around rally points and different ideas around traveling. He talks about a simple but cautious approach you should take when arriving at your bug out location. There's one in here that I really, really like, and he strongly recommends you practice light discipline. The best thing you can do if you're at night is not to use a flashlight. And if you have to use a flashlight, use one with the red lens. And so if you notice the military L flashlights down in the bottom, they have some filters. Am I? Let me see here. Oh, yeah, I know what it is. Probably. I'll take those off for the time being. But did that help with the clicking? Okay, now I forget where I was, so that's okay. Hopefully that took care of the clicking. So, I know where I was. We're talking about the Army L flashlight. Down in the base, they have a red filter, they have a clear filter. And so you can change those out when you need them. And we use the red filter at night so that we can, so that your eyes can adjust to it, and you're not going to be light blinded at nighttime. So remember, it takes a while for your eyes to readjust to seeing at night. And so that's what you want to do. Is you want to use good light discipline, regardless of where you are, especially if you're moving into an unknown area. And so the key chapter concepts: don't build a bug out bag until you know where you're going. I disagree with that, but that's just a difference of opinions. Create a few bug out routes. Yes. Especially, I would say primarily have a minimum of 4, one in each major direction of the compass to get away from where you are. You never know. And then, of course, now that we're in this nuclear threat and everything else, the first thing you should do is check windy.com every morning. What direction is the prevailing winds coming? So if they drop a 10 megaton on Austin and the prevailing winds are heading north, I'd be stupid to go up I-35 north. because that's just putting me in direct line of where the fallout's going to be. So what I might want to do is head either east or west or southeast or southwest and hopefully go against the direction that the fallout's going. So make sure you check windy every morning and then have at least 4 different directions planned for your bug out. Holly says she's not hearing sound. How is everybody else doing? Can I get a mic check here? Or can everybody hear me? Can nobody hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Everybody but Holly seems to be able to hear me pretty well. So Holly, I have a feeling you may be like I did. I blew the speakers in my computer. Okay, he talks about planning and hiding some survival caches. I disagree with that unless you can control the area. Now, that's very well discussed in this book by Franklin Horton. Okay, Locker 9. As a matter of fact, that's the whole thing here. Is he gave his daughter keys to a storage locker, and inside that storage locker was all the survival gear she needed to put in her pickup to drive home. So that's kind of where the whole genre of this comes from. Then he's arranged. He has caches at a network of people's houses. And as a matter of fact, where I am reading the book right now, she's going to that first network house, and he says, "Don't go in. Here's how you go in, but don't go in because I have a dog that bites. So wait for me to get there, and I'll, sure you can spend the night. I know your dad will take good care of you." So plan those things. Where are you going to stay? How are you going to take care of things as you're evacuating? So I understand and identify rally points along your bug out route to keep you and yours together, and have a process for inspecting your bug out location upon arrival. So, and that's kind of the end of the book. So basically, here are some things. Number one, figure some bug out locations. I mean, fairly specific bug out locations. So, for example, what did I knock off? Oh, my bookmark, because I don't need it anymore in that book. So if we're heading north on 183, then maybe our meetup point might be the Storms Restaurant in Lampasas, Texas. If we're heading north up I-35, then La Casita Mexican restaurant in Belton is pretty good place to go. If we're heading west into Burnett, in the Burnett area, or even Llano, we could say that we're going to meet up at Cooper's in Llano. If we're heading east, then we might want to say we're going to meet up at the Mexican restaurant in Somerville, or at the Chinese restaurant. I forget the name of it, Panda Express. The Panda Express at Texas A&M at College Station. So there's all kinds of places you can designate as your locations where people are going to gather together, because you may be leaving from different areas in order to get there. And so, you might want to tell them, hey, this is where we're going to go. These are our bug out locations where we're going to get, where we're going to be collecting us together so we can have a cohesive group. Now, I want to talk about bags real quick. So this is the bag I bought for my daughter when she was in college. And so this was filled with bug out stuff. And this is what she kept in her dorm room when she was in college. So she's returned it. She's got a bigger one now. And so this is going to be a giveaway when I get to my next subscriber level. Then at my store, I sold this pre-made bag. This was a $200 bag. It's ACU basically, but it's a great bag, a small bag, relatively small. It probably weighs about 20 pounds. What I don't like about it is it only has shoulder straps. I like to have a waistband that carries the so that when I get it put on correctly, I'm carrying the majority of the weight around my waist rather than on my shoulders. Let me see. Get up here, Dragon Slayer. Great. Yes, bug out corridors are fantastic. You know basically what I'm talking about. Um, yeah, and that's fine as long as everybody in your group, whoever your group is, knows and identifies it the same way. You can use any kind of terrain feature. You can use man-made. You can use natural terrain features. That's fine. You can even use road intersections. So if anything happens, We're going to meet up where Highway 190 intersects with 183 on the south side of town. You know, um, so that's pretty good. You can use any kind of thing like that. Uh, oh my gosh. Okay, so my bags. So this is I have three bags. I have a basically a get home bag that I keep in my pickup. I have a slightly larger get home bag uh, that I kept in my pickup when I worked up in Waco, so that I needed more stuff to get home. Since I'm just driving around here in the suburbs of Austin, and I'm very seldom going to be more than 10 miles away from the house. I don't go into Austin anymore. I try to avoid it like the plague. Um, Pflugerville, Round Rock, Georgetown, Burnett, that's kind of Liberty Hill, Cedar Park. The areas, the suburbs north of Austin are primarily going to be where I'm going to be hanging out. So that's at the most, that's going to be a 2-day walk. And my doctor is the farthest thing away from me. But he's been our family doctor now. He took care of my parents, and so he's been our family physician for so long. I'd hate to lose him. I had my annual physical with him this morning, and he just phenomenal guy. And he's a prepper too. So anyhow, this is the bag that I carry in my pickup every single day. This is my area at home, get home bag. And I wonder what this little silver thing here is that hangs off the side. This is basically a bottle clip. So what can happen is I normally have something like this with me, and it just fits around this top area up here. There we go. And then you can hang your water bottle on your bug out bag. So any kind of a water bottle can fit right on there. But that's what that is. And I usually leave it empty because I don't want to have water out in a 110-degree car, 130 sometimes. But anyhow, but this is a sling bag. It goes over one shoulder. It only has one strap, so you're kind of wearing it. I would call it a half pack rather than a full pack. Then my get home bag from is basically a Echo Sigma get home bag that I've modified. I think I told you the story. I had a real good bug out bag that I worked on since 1980, and then in 2015 it got stolen out of my car. So make sure you keep an inventory of everything that's in your bag, because I lost thousands of dollars on that bag when it got stolen because I didn't have an inventory of everything. So my last two bags, this is the Echo Sigma. This is the larger Echo Sigma bag. So this is basically where all my stuff is right now for a bug out bag. So this is the larger one. It's probably about a 5-6 liter bag. And I'm going to be giving that one away too at one of my, as I grow my channel, that'll be one of the gifts that I'm giving away. And then as well as the one I'm currently in. So I currently have all of my bug out stuff in one of those bags, but I bought another bag that I want to be moving it into. Now, here's the bad thing about bags that you've got to remember. The larger the bag, the more tendency you have to put stuff in it. We for some reason, we have this psychological aversion to blank space in our bag. And so basically, the larger the bag, the heavier it is. And the heavier it is, the more difficult it is to hump it for some distance, which is why I have a two-wheel dolly that I put my bag on, with bungee cords and everything else. But I did get, I ordered and received this is a uh, 511, what they call a Rush 72 hour bag, a 3-day bag. So this is going to be my new bag as I move everything uh, from this bag over into that bag. And then of course, as I said, I'll have two of those larger bags. I'll be giving one away. I'll probably give one away at my 5,000, one at 10 or 15,000, something like that. I don't have that many sponsors that donate stuff to me yet, so to give for giveaways. But that's what we'll be doing. So if you notice, there was a wide collection of colors. I like coyote brown. I like the gunmetal blue. That's what I just ordered with the Rush. Um, and then I do have the ACU. I have olive drab. I have black. I have Mickey Mouse. I have probably coyote tan is going to be my most prevalent because remember I come from the desert, from the El Paso area, and then of course to the San Angelo area as well. So those are just some ideas for bags. Make sure you're getting the size bag that you need to suit the purpose that you have. So that's why I have a smaller bag that I'm going to have daily. There's two things that go in my truck. When I go out to my truck, I've got my in-town get-home bag. I've got my trauma kit so that if there's an accident or something, a car accident or something, I can stop and render a little bit of first aid until the paramedics get there. But other than that, that's it. Now, I think I showed you as well. I do have a nuclear personal protection kit that you can do very easily on your own and keep it in your vehicle for everybody in your vehicle. I got some of the painter's booties, which are kind of the it's a kind of plastic that you can put over your shoes so that you can remove that and keep all the radioactive dust on those booty covers instead of on your shoes. Then a poncho, of course, to protect yourself from the radioactive fallout, not from the radiation, but from the fallout itself, so you don't have to have it get embedded into your skin. Pair of goggles to keep any radioactive dust from getting into your eyes. A face mask, preferably an N95. Then on your poncho, you're going to have a hood that's going to come over. You want to have something you can tie that hood on. So you're going to basically have your entire face covered. You're going to have your eyes with your mask and your nose and mouth with your face mask, then your hood from your poncho, and then some plastic gloves. And I just have the blue nitrile first aid gloves. So now I've got everything covered. And so any radioactive dust that is falling in my direction, I'm getting rid of it when I get rid of when I doff all of my PPE. And that's a very small, it's a sandwich size Ziploc bag that you can keep in your vehicle as well. So let me catch up here, and then I think we're pretty much done for the evening, and we can catch up on, remember that we're going to be starting next week, pages 1 through 19, I believe it is, on Selko Begovich's book, and I don't know what I did with it. I purposely lost it, I guess. Oh, here it is. The Dark Secrets of SHTF Survival. In here he talks about a guy who gave an ounce of gold worth about $2,000 for some antibiotics for his wife. Let me see. I guess Mad Shad, are you running off? You're leaving us? Great idea. Yep. Now I don't have the Molly 2. I retired before the Molly system came out. I was still using just the Alice. And so I can tell you One of the important things as well in weight distribution is make sure you get some of the stuff on your belt. So I have an independent, the pistol belt is great. Uh, and then, you can have that so that you can take off your main pack and have your shoot and scoot stuff with you, canteen, IFAC, ammo, and then all the rest of stuff is in your pack. You can just drop it and shoot and scoot. I had a fanny pack, but it's an OD fanny pack that fit on the Alice pack. That is fantastic. Just a very small pack, fits on the pistol belt. Just really great. Um, so and I'm a fan of that. Now, I will say that the disadvantage to having a Glock 21 and 45 ACP is the weight of the ammunition. 45 caliber ammunition is probably 245 caliber rounds probably weighs the same as 3 9mm. So for every 2 rounds I'm carrying, you get an extra one. Um, but then again, the stopping power is totally different as well. Remember that basically the 45 caliber in the M1911 was used to replace the 357 Magnum that the Army revolver that the Army was using during the wars with the drugs, the people who were high on drugs in the Philippines in the early 20th century. And the Moros would get hyped up on drugs, and they'd come in the 357. They could hit them 4 or 5 times, and they keep coming. But they found out that with the 45, they could move them a foot or two when they were attacking, and with the 45, that subsonic round. And so the Army chose that round for a good reason. The only reason they got rid of it was to comply with NATO. We asked NATO to do certain rounds, and they asked us to do certain rounds. We asked them to do 7.62 millimeter, basically the 308, 7.6251, I believe it is. And then right after we had them agree to that, then we switched over to 5.56. So we kind of abrogated that agreement. But they said, okay, well, if that's where you want to be, we want 9mm for a pistol round. And we said, oh, okay. And then it took us until 1988, I guess, when the first 9mm were being issued out. We had the 45. So from 1968 to 1988, it took us 20 years to convert over to the 9mm to comply with NATO. But the 45, in my opinion, is a far better weapon. Dan H., I love it. I love it. Yeah, and so they aren't going to think that's the same thing with the cane, fighting with the cane or studying cane fighting. Is your Sun Tzu says, that perception is everything. So if you're presenting yourself as an unprepared person with a Mickey Mouse bag, they're probably not going to do anything to you. Whereas somebody who has a tactical bag, they're going to say, oh, this guy has your stuff together. One or two things. It's either going to scare them and they aren't going to attack you, or they are going to attack you for what they think you might have. But no, that's great. Mickey Mouse bag is great. Totally depends. There will be roadblocks, that's for sure, and there will be good roadblocks. There will be bad roadblocks, and one thing that they point out in this Horton book that's really I hadn't really thought of is the president puts out an executive order that all gasoline is forfeited and goes to the government. So they're having a hard time filling up the vehicle with gas because nobody can sell it. It's now illegal to sell gasoline because after all these terrorist attacks, they need the gasoline. There's no manufacturing and everything else. They need it strictly for government vehicles. So I had never thought about that, in all this time that there may not be the availability of gasoline. But anyhow, they go through a couple of roadblocks exactly like what you're talking about, good and bad. And you have to kind of guess which ones you need to run and which ones you need to comply with. Yeah, and that's exactly what I have, Dragon Slayer. I have the $1 disposable poncho from Walmart, and that's it. That's what I'm using in this bag. So I got their range safety glasses that they sell. for $5 that cover everything. I got Walmart $1 ponchos. I got a package of Walmart N95 face masks. And then I went over to the paint center and I got their little booties for their paint booties. And everything I got was at Walmart for the entire kit to make an entire nuclear war PPE kit. I probably spent $10 to include the Ziploc bag to put them in. So, that's just, something you might want to consider. Really, I've heard good things about it. I don't know that much about it. One of my, I think somebody, what was it? Somebody was investigating it and came up with all their specs and everything else. He hadn't bought it yet, but that's what he was looking at buying. You know what, Stealth Survivalist? That a lot of mine was the same way until it got stolen out of the back of my car 8 years ago. So, and it kind of disproves, I want to kind of disprove something. People say don't buy prepaid bags. Well, when my bag was stolen out of my car, I'd been working on that bag, 1980 to 2015, 35 years. And so I was constantly upgrading and replacing and moving things in, stuff got newer. As a matter of fact, I have a box out in the garage. I was going through it and I found this chainsaw. Well, not chainsaw, but a pull saw. It's a like a wire that has saw teeth on it and 2 rings. And that was in my backpack. That was in my original get home bag. But I bought that when I was in the Boy Scouts in 1965. So there's a lot of old stuff, but that old stuff can be good stuff too. So it's not the age, it's the quality. I have a couple knives that are just, I've had them forever and they're just phenomenal. That I probably wouldn't give them for anything. Now I've lost a couple good ones too, but that's just the way it goes. Let me see. Well, and so that's another thing that we need to talk about real quickly. I was looking at my get home bag. That is the smaller get home bag. The smaller, it's actually the Echo Sigma get home bag. So I bought it, and inside of it they have the terrible tasting survival bars. I replaced those with nutrient survival cookies and peanut butter meals. And then it had some little packages of water, which is great. I left those in there. And then I added some nutrient survival stuff, the cookies and the meals, the peanut butter bar meals and stuff like that. But I'm constantly replacing things. Yes. With it, you do the same thing as if you're going to build it yourself. I'm even replacing bag right now. So, you're in a constant state of you want to improve. The more you know about it, the more you want to change it, I guess is the way to put it. I did not water today, but I did trim my tomato bushes, and I cut off a branch. I accidentally had one almost ripe and 2 green tomatoes on it, so that brought those in. We'll see what happens. Well, that's just the way it is when you live in the big city and the suburbs. There are people who. Now the bad thing is that I had an M1911 in that bag that I had bought from a friend. So the serial number was not registered to me, and nobody ever knew I had it. And it was in that bag, and it got stolen. And to replace an M1911 right now is close to $1,000. A good one. Whew, gosh, that's why I ended up with the Glock 21 as a replacement for that. And then I couldn't report it stolen because I didn't have the serial number. So I lost that on the insurance claim as well. But when I told the police officer that there was a firearm in it, boy, did he get excited. And he wanted all kinds of stuff, all kinds of information. So that's but that's you live and learn, live and learn. Um, so any ideas? What are your ideas about bug out bags and bug out locations? Practicing doing some exercises with your family. Helen and I are doing some cooking exercises. Oh, that's something I wanted to mention. My in town get home bag and my get home bag, my 3-day get home bag, both of them have easy to eat survival rations. That's where the nutrient survival bars and cookies come in. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Here's one right here. This is the nutrient survival chocolate chip cookie meal. So two chocolate chip cookies is a meal, and so that's what I put in my 3-day get home bag. Don't want to have to do too much cooking. Now, the only cooking I'm going to do, more than likely, is I have a very small stove. I have my cup. I'll be boiling water, and now using that boiling water for either hot chocolate, instant soup, or coffee. And so that's the maximum amount of cooking I intend to do if it's in my larger get home bag. Now in my bug out bag, now we're going up to where I'm going to have some sort of cookware, some sort of a stove or a grill or something so that I can cook my foods. And I'm probably going to go with more dehydrated or freeze dried foods. Might go with something like the Mountain House packets would be great. Right now I have MREs in there. But if you don't have access to MREs, then you could use basically Mountain House type stuff, or you could make your own. There's a fantastic book called A Meal in a Jar, and so what they do is they take different kinds of freeze dried foods and put them together into one container. Then you just add that to boiling water, and you got a meal. So that's another option for you there as well. But you have different amounts of cooking depending upon how long you anticipate you're going to be gone. Um, okay. So do I have a camp stove in my bag? Yes, I do. So I use basically it's a fold up sterno stove, and then I have one sterno. You've seen them in my haul bag in my haul videos, and the reason I use the sterno stove and the sterno can is I don't think I'm going to use up that sterno can in 3 days, so I'm going to have it, and if once that's done, the sterno stove you can use twigs and feed twigs into it, and that'll work for you. Now for my bug out bag, it depends. The bug out bag itself, I don't have any kind of a stove in it. What I have instead is I showed in another video, I made these cans, tuna cans, where I took cardboard and paraffin and made longer burning stoves that are fairly lightweight. I have two of those that I have in there. And then I have a grill that I'm going to put on rocks or bricks or something up above those to go with it. And then once those burn out, then of course you got the grill that you can put your natural stuff underneath. But that's going to be the extent of my ability to cook. Now, in my canteen set for my larger uh, bug out kit, I have a Pathfinder water bottle, and the Pathfinder water bottle has it looks kind of like the canteen cup off a U.S. Army canteen. It's a little bit larger and it's perforated, so you can turn it upside down and use it as a stove. So I do have that in my larger bug out bag. I'll show you that to you. Um, Let me see. Yes, I have. I don't have candy bars because of the heat here. I do have Lifesavers and Jolly Ranchers, and pretty much everything I have is going to be a hard candy that I'm going to have in my bug out bag or my get home bag. I'm not. I don't want anything that's going to melt, and things melt very easily here in Central Texas. Um, uh, Yeah, and so that's why I only have the cookies in that 3-day get home bag, and so I don't have any cooking capability except for my um, ability to boil basically a very small canteen cup type of a stove. So, oh, fantastic! It's great. I'll all three of them. How's that, Triple G? I'll show you all three of them. My get home bag for in town, my get home bag for out of town, and then my uh, bug out bag. I'll show you all three of those. As a matter of fact, I may just spread them out on the floor and do them one at a time and do a video on each one. Um, I maybe we'll talk about get home bags tomorrow night. I don't have anybody to interview tomorrow night, so I may show that tomorrow night. One of them. Uh, the Esbit stove is great. What I don't like about the Esbit stove is the Esbit fuel, to me, just does not seem to get hot enough. It takes way too long to get something up to a warm temperature. The other thing I don't like about the Esbit's fuel is it leaves a nasty stain on my cookware that I just can't get rid of. So yeah, and those fire starter blocks may be a lot better, a lot hotter, as well as a lot cleaner than the Esbit fuel itself. I just I used the Esbit fuel when I was camping and did not care for it that much. Esbit stove is phenomenal. I like it. Nice, lightweight, easy to use. You can use biomatter in it very easily. It's a great little stove. Hobo stove, I agree, is a great stove. Um, Oh, stealth survival. She'll have to show that to us. And yeah, would love to see that. Um, there's all kinds of options. I think I showed you the other thing I like about I really love all the stuff that they have in Self-Reliant Outfitters. One of the things I really like about the bush pot that they have now, that's a larger kit that I showed you that I purchased. Is you can take the 5-liter bush pot, turn it on its side, put the rack in the cooking rack inside, and you basically created an oven. So that's what I really, really like about it. But no, there's some phenomenal gear out there, some outstanding gear. And, the one thing I found out about preppers is they're also very innovative. So, Stealth Survivalist is telling us that he's created one from IKEA stuff. It's just fantastic creativity. And you know what? If it works, it works. That's all you want it to do. You just want it to get your food or your water hot. And that's going to be fantastic. Okay, we're at almost 10 minutes after. MRE heaters are fantastic. Just do me a favor. When you get them, do not expose them to too much heat. I had some MRE heaters I kept out in the garage, and it basically ruined them. It got too hot in the garage. So make sure you keep them in a nice, cool, dry place. Even though they're designed for extreme heat, they can go bad in extreme heat. So just be careful. Okay. Triple G Farm says the SVEA 123R is one of the best multi-fuel stoves around. Okay, and so that basically screws onto one of the jet boil type of canisters, right? I have some of that for use here outside. And then I guess maybe what I need to do is show you all my different cooking stoves that I have and all the different cooking gear, different gear for different situations, whether I want to cook indoors or outdoors. But, we're going to have to call this quits. Thank you all for being here. Really love you. Only lost 7, so I'm not that boring, I guess, tonight at an hour and 10 minutes. Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24, 25, 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and give you peace. So remember, we're all in this together. Oh, and you know what? The Kelly, who's the receptionist there for my doctor, she had a new sticker up today that says, be kind to each other. And Ephesians 1, I got to look it up. But anyhow, she and I were talking about that. I said, that's how I end all my videos is be kind, polite, and respectful to each other. And so it's nice to see that. Maybe I'll get one of those at the there at the gift shop at the hospital, and be able to hang that up, and we'll have it here. So remember, please be kind, polite, and respectful to each other, because togetherness is the key. You all have a wonderful evening. Take care. Bye-bye.